Championship. The road to Dallas winds through Kansas City for a Midwest regional game between Kansas and Michigan State in sold-out Kemper Arena. Kansas hopes to return to the glorious era of 30 years ago. In the mid-50s, it was 7-foot Wilt the Still Chamberlain, who was a dominating factor during a period of Jayhawk excellence. In the mid-80s, that role is filled by Danny Manning. Only a sophomore, Danny Manning has already attracted massive national attention and is regarded by many as the most complete tall man currently competing in the collegiate ranks. Though just shy of 7 feet tall, he's blessed with the agility of a point guard. And though leading his team in scoring, he's perhaps the most unselfish man on the squad. Danny Manning, the Big 8 Player of the Year and a second-team All-American in this, his second season. Larry Brown is now in his 3rd year on the Lawrence campus, and the much-traveled coach seems to have quietly found his niche. Michigan State coach Judd Heathcote, now in his 10th season in Lansing, is a bit more animated, perhaps because he believes the magic is back. It was just 7 years ago that Urban Magic Johnson dazzled basketball fans across the nation, leading the Spartans through a mystical season culminated by the school's only NCAA title. Now Scott Skiles has Michigan State fans dreaming of a return to the throne. The 6'1" guard from Plymouth, Indiana, has roared into controversial national prominence in this, his senior season. He's a wizard on the court in all phases of the game and has been more responsible for his team's success than any other player in the nation. It's Kansas against Michigan State next. Kemper Arena in Kansas City for tonight's Midwest Regional semifinal between the Spartans of Michigan State and the Jayhawks from Kansas. Good evening, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist, and welcome to Kemper Arena in Kansas City. The countdown to the Final 8 continues here tonight with either Kansas or Michigan State going on to a Sunday encounter. Let's bring you up to date with what's happened so far. In Atlanta tomorrow, it'll be Kentucky going against LSU for the Southeast Regional title. In Houston tomorrow, it'll be the strong Auburn team matched against Louisville for the Western Regional Championship. Earlier here this evening, Jim Valvano's team did it again. They outlasted Iowa State and won it by a count of 70-66. Now, we do have a tape-delayed game coming up later this evening on CBS. For those of you who would not like to know the score, turn away for about 5 seconds. For those of you who want to know who won between Navy and Cleveland State, take a quick look. Our expert analyst tonight is former Harvard player James Brown. James, it's obvious that Kansas comes in seeded #1 in this region, justifiably so. Very tall team, terrific talent. How does Michigan State counter that?
Well, Michigan State can counter their lack of size and height with speed, quickness, and good shooting from the perimeter. They're also a very tenacious ball club, Vern, and there's no doubt that Scott Skiles is their ferocious leader. The thing that makes him so good, in addition to his scoring, is that he's a tenacious ball player, and that's contagious with the rest of his teammates.
There's going to be a spotlight on Scott Skiles all night long. Larry Brown knows that. How does the Kansas team defense his talents?
Larry Brown has an immense amount of confidence in Cedric Hunter, a 6-foot ball player who's lightning quick with quick hands, and he's played some great ball players. Johnny Dawkins of Duke, Milt Wagner of Louisville. The key thing is he knows Scott Skiles is going to get his points, but he's got to make them work for him, and hopefully with a poor field goal shooting percentage.
All right. That's on the agenda for this evening. It's Kansas against Michigan State coming up next here from Kansas City.
Tonight's Midwest Regional semifinal game is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz.
Live at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri for Kansas against Michigan State. And now for the starting lineups. Let's go to our public address announcer, Mark Fitzpatrick.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Kemper Arena for this evening's Midwest Regional semifinal game between the Michigan State University Spartans and the University of Kansas Jayhawks. Now let's meet the starting lineups. For Michigan State, at forward, a 6'8" senior from Sterling Heights, Michigan, number 35, Larry Collins. For Kansas, at forward, a 6'11" sophomore from Lawrence, Kansas, number 25, Danny Manning. For Michigan State, at forward, a 6'6" junior from Detroit, Michigan, number 23, Vernon Carr. For Kansas, at forward, a 6'5" junior from Omaha, Nebraska, number 44, Ron Kellogg. For Michigan State, at center, a 6'8" junior from Buffalo, New York, number 40, Barry Fordham. For Kansas, at center, a 7'1" senior from Wichita, Kansas, number 30, Greg Dreiling. For Michigan State, at guard, a 6'2" junior from Flint, Michigan, number 13, Daryl Johnson. For Kansas, at guard, a 6-foot junior from Omaha, Nebraska, number 22, Cedric Hunter. For Michigan State, at guard, a 6'1" senior from Plymouth, Indiana, number 4, Scott Skiles. And for Kansas, at guard, a 6'6" senior from Kansas City, Kansas, number 35, Calvin Thompson. And introducing the head coaches for Michigan State in his 10th season, Judd Heathcote. For Kansas in his 3rd season, Larry Brown.
Kansas against Michigan State. The Jayhawks against the Lansing Michigan Spartans coming up next. 7 record, and Kansas at 33-3. Both teams are high-scoring outfits, and they have excellent shooting teams. Look at the field goal percentages. Michigan State a slight edge at the free throw line. The defensive edge runs to Kansas. The officials tonight: Hank Armstrong, Bobby Dibler, and Pete Pavia. Larry Pollock will jump against Greg Dreiling as we're set to go in the 2nd game here from Kansas City. After North Carolina State held off Iowa State by a count of 70-66. That game was a North Carolina State rout in the first half. They led by a 40-29 score. Iowa State came back to tie it at 47-all with a strong surge early in the 2nd half. But then Benny Bolton and Ernie Myers led a surge down the stretch that gave North Carolina State the victory. Pollock wins the tip. It'll be Scott Skiles trying to get to the ball. He can't. But it was touched last by Kansas, and Skiles will inbound. Calvin Thompson comes down to immediately go into a press. Now Ron Kellogg comes down to help him, and Daryl Johnson brings it across the timeline, wearing number 13. NCAA champions in '79, their all-time tournament record 12-4. Here's Pollock, top of the key. Right side to Daryl Johnson, looks for Skiles, goes to the free throw line, takes the jumper, gets the bounce, and rolls in. Cedric Hunter brings it across the timeline. Kansas 26-16. Last NCAA championship in '52. Underneath the Greg Dreiling. Off the glass, and the rebound taken up by Ron Kellogg, number 44. Trips and falls. The score is tied at 2. That ball tipped away. It'll be Michigan State to inbound.
A lot of concern, of course, on Coach Larry Brown's part about the physical condition of Ron Kellogg, who hasn't practiced at all because of that very sore sprained arch of his. And I think they're going to really try and test him, that is Michigan State, to see what kind of defensive player he is, because normally he's an excellent defensive player.
Kansas immediately opens up in the man-for-man. That's all Larry Brown likes to coach. Now Scott Skiles with a head fake traveled. And a little confrontation early as Calvin Thompson comes over and takes the ball away from Skiles.
But I tell you, as an old ball player, you like to play with somebody who's got a lot of confidence. There's the matchup, Cedric Hunter on Scott Skiles, a clear walk. You like the fact that Skiles is in that triple threat position, though. He's one heck of a competitor.
We are tied at 2, 18:57 to go first half. Dreiling top of the key, left side to Cedric Hunter. He hit 73%. Big 8 competition. There's Thompson with the alley-oop. And here comes Michigan State, down by 2. Vernon Carr across the baseline. And Daryl Johnson saves it.
Thompson's got a little mental war going on right now with Scott Skiles. After that slam dunk, he gave him one of those playground stares.
Foul is called as Pollock loses the ball. That foul is on Ron Kellogg, number 44, his first, team first. Ron Kellogg, as James said, has been playing with a sprained metatarsal arch in his left foot. It happened to him a couple of weeks ago. He did not start in the tournament opener against North Carolina A&T. Did play some last week, but Larry Brown is concerned if he has to go the distance tonight and they win, he might not be ready for Sunday's game against North Carolina State. Here's Skiles with the fake. Darrell Johnson, guarded by Danny Manning. Back to Johnson. Long rebound. Pollock struggles but gets there. Very Porter looks back for Johnson, almost stolen by Manning, into the Michigan State inbound.
You talked about the Ron Kellogg. There's also got to be a little concern about his conditioning too, Vern, the fact that he hasn't practiced. He has been riding a stationary bicycle to try to maintain that conditioning, but a big difference between game situations and riding the bicycle.
Skiles back to Vernon Carr. Long rebound out to Ron Kellogg. It's a 2-on-5 break. So Kansas will go back to Danny Manning.
State does a good job of getting back on defense. Got a little bit of a trick defense here.
Kansas tries to get it inside to Manning. They do, and Manning hits the jumper.
And he can maneuver with all kinds of pressure on him. Certainly one of the most agile big men around.
First basket for Vernon Carr shaves the lead to 6-4. It's 2 points, 17-25 remaining in the first half.
Now, Coach Brown said he's going to be most concerned about his troops getting back on defense, certainly respecting the blazing speed of Michigan State.
This is not the home arena for the University of Kansas, though some have claimed it is. It's only 35 miles from Lawrence, but they have played here 5 times and they're undefeated. Rebound by Kellogg, stripped by Darrell Johnson. Here comes Michigan State, but Hunter knocks it away. That'll be Spartan ball to inbound.
Michigan State doing a good job of disguising their defense. They start off in what looks to be a 2-3 set, but it's actually a man-to-man or matchup zone because they're following their men through.
Judd Heathcote now in his 10th year at Michigan State. Scott Skiles goes right, guarded by Cedric Hunter. There's the first shot, Skiles shot, and it's good.
Hard-nosed competitor. He loves the competition. I mentioned that he and Calvin Thompson have given each other a few bumps, but he fires his team up.
We are tied at 6. Cedric Hunter.
Then if you take a look, they're playing man. He's laying off of him, sagging in a little bit.
There's Dreiling. In and back out to Hunter. Takes it to the lane and pulls it up.
Well, we talked about the lightning quick moves that he has. He displayed at that time.
Here comes Skiles going all the way. Blocking foul called. Larry Brown thought his team was going to get the charge.
Well, take a look to see if Manning has position. He's planted as Skiles goes. Manning now, had he just maintained that square position, he took that left shoulder and moved it just a little bit, trying to gain an advantage, and that's what the officials saw.
Scott Skiles will go to the line where he's hitting 90%. We mentioned at the open he was controversial. To say he is controversial is to say the Philippine election might have been tainted. Arrested 3 times in the last year and a half, and he misses his first free throw. He had hit 17 of 18 in NCAA tournament competition. Just to complete the story on Skiles, arrested 3 times in the last year and a half, twice for driving while intoxicated, 1 for minor possession of drugs. He will serve a jail sentence at the conclusion of this season, and there are many who feel he should not be playing, but under the current NCAA, Big Ten, and Michigan State rules, he is eligible. That is a very controversial move that Judd Heathcote made to keep him on the team.
And certainly the fans get on him quite a bit wherever he goes as a result of that, but he does turn that into a positive and tries to get some incentive from that and plays better.
Danny Manning puts Kansas back on top. Vernon Carr with a good move, jumper up, goaltending.
Clear case of it that time. The ball was on his downward flight. Again, the key here was that the ball was on his downward flight. Danny Manning trying to get into the game defensively, but the ball that reached its apex and clearly was on its way down. 2-3 zone defense displayed by Michigan State.
We mentioned both were good shooting teams. They are both 5 of 7. Make it 6 of 8 as Ron Kellogg hits from 22.
And he can nail them from anywhere around the perimeter.
So can Skiles, but he misses that one. Rebound, Larry Pollock off the glass. Good.
Good job of pounding the boards. That is going to be a big key. Coach Judd Heath, coach, said his team must hit the boards awfully hard in order to take away that size advantage of Kansas.
Now Calvin Thompson back to Cedric Hunter. Underneath the Dreiling. They'll try and work it in here. Whoops. Goaltending. Above the rim in the cylinder. No foul. No goaltending.
Call a pushing foul on Danny Manning. They are really calling him very close on him. As you take a look, Manning obviously showing good aggressiveness, number 25 in white, going to the boards awfully hard. I think that was just an excellent move. Should not have been a foul.
Larry Brown obviously is irate. We're tied at 12. Michigan State and Kansas both hot off the mark and tied at 12. At the conclusion of every CBS Sports NCAA tournament broadcast, we'll be selecting a Chevy Most Valuable Player from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. Daryl Johnson inbounds for the Spartans of Michigan State, tied at 12 with 14:40 to go first half. Now Cedric Hunter against Scott Skiles.
And again, keep in mind that Hunter wants to force Skiles to really work for those shots, hopefully low percentage.
There's a steal by Danny Manning, takes it all the way and misses the shot. Should be shooting a couple.
Isn't it amazing to see a guy 6'11", taking that ball like a Julius Erving? He gets out and leads the break. Look at the speed he possesses at 6'11", pulls up knowing that they're going to reach in and goes in for the layup. An extremely agile player.
Of course, he spent his first 2 years in high school in North Carolina in Greensboro. His dad, Ed, is an assistant to Larry Brown. And Larry's quite candid. He hired Ed when Danny Manning was going to become a senior in college, and Danny transferred to Lawrence, Kansas. Larry says, no, I don't think we'd have him here if I hadn't hired his dad. But I think it was a package deal, and Ed Manning is my assistant, and Danny Manning is playing for the team.
You like an honest guy, pulls no punches.
Gets them both. 6 points for Manning now. He's averaging just over 17 for the year. 14-12. Larry Pollock going to a bit of a roll now as Skiles, as Danny Manning comes out and switches on him. Calvin Thompson, they got him trapped in the corner. Skip pass, and Pollock tries to save it, can't. Cedric Hunter, 2-on-4. Let's see if Hunter pulls up. He does.
Michigan State had trouble recognizing the trick defense that time by Kansas, and it paid dividends and forced a turnover.
Ron Kellogg.
2-3 zone on the part of Michigan State.
They go in and will try and come back out if they can't get the shot, but Dreiling will get the shot. That's a good move for Kansas now, James, because Dreiling has been in a bit of a slump.
He has been in a real slump. He's a big, strong, physical ball player, shows good agility here, and uses that 7'1" frame and bulk of his very nicely going to the hoop. Kansas needs a big game from the big fella.
Dreiling with a chance for a three-pointer. Hitting 70% from the line for the year, and so far he's been perfect in the tournament. Still the all-time leading scorer in Kansas high school annals. He started his college career at Wichita State, transferred and sat out. Now the first sub, Chris Piper, comes in, and Danny Manning will get a rest.
The nice thing about this Kansas team is that they're such an unselfish bunch. All of the guys want to see Dreiling do better, do well in this tournament. They're hoping for a good game from him.
16-12, Daryl Johnson, or Vernon Carr gets it to Daryl Johnson. Good spin move, draws the foul. They'll shoot a couple.
Calvin Thompson really got caught that time, really bumping and swinging that arm down on the foul.
Larry Brown said yesterday in talking with us, yes, he was worried about Skiles, but he also had great respect for Daryl Johnson's shooting ability.
Indeed, which is why you could perhaps see some type of triangle in two with those two guys being chased an awful lot to minimize their effectiveness.
Got one shot, guys.
That cuts it to a three-point margin. Hitting 68% in the tournament. Gets them both. And it's a 16-14 Kansas lead. 13:37 remaining first half. Vern Lundquist and James Brown live from Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, where we have a sellout crowd, most of whom are Kansas partisans.
Again, MSU sticking with the 2-3 zone defense, showing a lot of respect for the inside height and bulk of Kansas.
Hunter, number 22, junior point guard. Calvin Thompson, one of three seniors on the team. Underneath the Dreiling, he stripped, foul. Vernon Carr got him on the wrist.
Clear size and strength advantage on the inside with Dreiling. should not be able to stop him at all. And if, in fact, Kansas continues to display patience on the offensive end and work it down low, Michigan State really will have a lot of trouble with that half-court offense.
Dreiling really has improved in this his senior season. Among other things, he's began taking dance classes to try and improve his balance, coordination.
And not a bad idea. The pro scouts are really taking a good, close look at him. Obviously, the guy's got the size, he's got the agility, and if he's got the heart to bounce back out of the slump, it'll serve him well in their estimation.
Gets 1 to 2. 3-point Kansas lead with 13:08 to go first half. Scott Skiles has been kind of a silent factor here in the first half.
Give a lot of credit to Cedric Hunter right now, who's making him work. Good trapping defense over the court on Skiles.
Ron Kellogg helping out. Now comes back as Vernon Carr lays it up. Rebound, Chris Piper. Here comes Kansas on the run. They will run with Michigan State.
Good job by Dreiling on D.
Galvin Thompson. Chris Piper, number 24. First sub of the game. Back to Hunter, now Piper. Will pass on the jump shot. They look for Dreiling inside. Can't find it. Ron Kellogg, who's a great pure shooter. Larry Brown said he's the best pure shooter he's ever been associated with.
That's saying something because he's coached some good ones.
5-point Kansas lead. That's a rarity. Barry Fordham with only his 9th shot, not his 9th point, his 9th shot in 2 games in 8 minutes. Check the defense now for Michigan State.
Again, the 2-3 zone defense, sagging in, trying to take away the inside game of Kansas.
Galvin Thompson.
Well, the 2-3 zone defense is doing his job, but Kansas perimeter guys are doing their job.
5-point Kansas lead again. Vernon Carr into the corner for Fordham, his 2nd shot of the game. And another foul, this time on Hunter. That's the 5th team foul, shooting foul, and Ralph Walker has come into the lineup now. Here comes Danny Manning back into the lineup, and he'll replace Greg Dreiling.
Had a chance to sit on the bench, see exactly what was going on out there on the floor. Dreiling, good job while he was in there. Excellent job.
Ralph Walker, one of 2 subs who figure prominently for Michigan State. He's a senior out of Southfield, Michigan, gets the first of his 2.
Came to the program as a 16-year-old freshman, and indeed, the coaching staff wishing that maybe he might have redshirted 1 year so they would have the full benefit of his development next year.
I'll bet they do. Now Larry Pollock comes back in for Walker. Pollock, number 35, Ralph Walker gets a rest. 21-18, 11:40 to go, first half. Kansas leading Michigan State. Winner of this game goes on to meet North Carolina State here Sunday afternoon.
It'll be interesting to see if, in fact, the 2 point guards extend to stop the jump shooting of Calvin Thompson.
Larry Pollock with a rebound for Michigan State. Skiles chases it down, and he can't save it. Piper. Push. No travel. A push on Daryl Johnson.
Well, because Piper fell that time and hit the floor, he had the ball, both pivot feet, that is, technically moved, so the official had to either call a travel foul or a pushing, travel violation or a pushing foul.
So the foul goes against Daryl Johnson. That's his first, 4th team foul on Michigan State.
Might easier for the official to see than for me to say that one.
21-18, Kansas with the lead.
Excellent move. He really drew the contact to him that time. That easily could have been a foul.
8 points for Manning. Skiles misfires. He's got only 4 so far. Nice save by Danny Manning. Here come the Jayhawks with a chance for their biggest lead, which would be 7.
Boy, Cedric Hunter is really doing his job.
Archie Marshall is in the lineup now for Kansas. Tries to get it inside for Manning.
Cedric Hunter has not allowed Scott Skiles to be a factor in the game up to this point, really taking his offense away.
Skiles has only taken 4 shots and hit 2 so far. There's the baseline jumper. Danny Manning is in double figures with 10. Daryl Johnson. Chris Piper with a rebound. Here come the Jayhawks.
1 shot only on the offense.
Hunter gets it back, goes to Piper. Quickly, Archie Marshall, junior college transfer in his first year here. Good tip for Kansas. Marshall off the glass. 6-point Kansas lead. Timeout, Michigan State. Judd Heathcote wants to talk it over, and the Jayhawk fans are roaring. Are you anything like the Jayhawks have hit 12 of 16 from the field, 75%. One free throw, it adds up to a 9-point lead. At the half, Duke is leading DePaul 37-32, number 1 ranked team in the country. Mike Krzyzewski's team leading Joey Meyer's team by 5. Our score has suddenly increased to a 9-point margin. Michigan State trailing now with 10:16 to go in the first half.
Again, we mentioned Cedric Hunter doing an excellent job on Scott Skiles, but also what's working well for Kansas. You couldn't ask for a better balance on the offense. They're working from the inside out. Hitting the inside game. If it's not there, they kick it outside, and they're connected.
Now let's watch as Mark Turgeon has replaced Cedric Hunter, and he'll guard Skiles. Young junior guard. Here's Vernon Carr with the off-balance shot. It's short. Hit. Larry Pollock gets the rebound, draws the foul. It'll be Chris Piper who came down on his back.
Now, eyeballing it and also understanding the book as far as Mark Turgeon is concerned, Skiles has a decided advantage there, should be able to take advantage of Mark Turgeon, who is only about 5'8", 5'9", is not that strong or powerfully built.
That is Turgeon, number 11, who will guard Skiles in the inbound now. Listed at 150 pounds, and they may be exaggerating.
I think they are.
Now the crowd gets on Skiles. He's gotten used to that this year.
That 150 pounds might be with the away uniform.
Hey, they switched to his zone.
Indeed they have.
On the inbounds play, right?
Indeed they have.
Earlier this evening, it was North Carolina State edging Iowa State 70-66. They had an 11-point lead at halftime. Iowa State came back to tie it at 47-all, but then North Carolina State hit some key shots in the stretch and won by 4. And Jimmy Valvano's team is again in the round of 8. Chris Piper, 2 more.
Kansas so patient. Wants the wing guys on the zone extended out further. That left the seam open on the inside. Good ball movement.
Back to the man-for-man now. Skiles back at the top of the key. Mark Turgeon guarding him, number 11. Vernon Carr, number 23. Skiles with only 4 shots so far in the game. He's hit 2, and Turgeon draws the foul. I'm sure, James, they'll try and exploit that as long as Turgeon
without a doubt. And much like in the NBA, the reserves, the rookies, they don't get the benefit of those calls. That was good body defense on the part of Turgeon, but again, a reserve not getting the benefit of the call.
Well, you've got Turgeon with 1 foul now. Hunter has only 1. One of the problems in guarding Scott Skiles so far this year is that 7 players have fouled out guarding him. 8 more have drawn 4 fouls while trying to keep him in check. Gets this one.
Skiles has the unique ability to get better as the game goes along. In a slump right now in that he's not contributing as much point-wise to the game, but don't take your eye off him.
Averaged 30.2 points per game over his last 14. That's 6 points in the game now for Skiles, a 29-22 score. 8:50 to go first half.
No hands on him now.
Mark Turgeon out of Topeka, Kansas. Greg Dreiling, number 30, the 7-footer. The alley-oop is attempted. The rebound by Marshall. Nice alert play by Archie Marshall.
Quick leaper, good reaction to the ball coming to the boards.
Off the corner, Carr with an air ball. Kellogg is fouled, or draws the foul. That's 2.
So there's no question that the officials are trying to keep control of the game, but it looked to be just good aggressive hustle on the part of Kellogg.
Pollock will go to the line, where he is hitting 86%. Ron Kellogg in a state of semi-disbelief. Pollock, senior from Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Number 44 in white. Take a look. Let's see if he pushes off. And again, the official caught a clear indication he was indeed pushing, jockeying for position. Good call.
There's boxing out, and then there's fouling. I think they got him. Pollock gets them both. 31-24 with 8:30 to go first half. Kansas seated number 1. This is the first time they've been ranked second in the country since 1957, when this tradition-rich Kansas team lost to North Carolina in the NCAA championship in triple overtime. Manning is fouled by Scott Skiles.
Kansas did a nice job of taking advantage of the fact that Michigan State switched to a man-to-man defense. Immediately, Kansas went inside to take advantage of their height.
Skiles, second foul.
He's yelling at everybody right now. He's talking to the official. You don't want to get the official wound up.
He's still complaining about the call. There's Calvin Thompson back in now. Ron Kellogg will get a rest, and Cedric Hunter, having gotten the blow, will come into the lineup as well, and Mark Turgeon.
Skiles kind of reminds me of John McEnroe in that he does a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, but it's to pump himself up as well to get his game back in gear.
Well, one of our production people, Artie Kempner, suggested this afternoon he reminds him of Jack Lambert of the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I thought was a great analogy. There's another foul underneath, and Dreiling will go to the line.
Again, good job of pumping the ball on the inside. Dreiling did a nice job that time of keeping the ball high. At 7-1, you want to keep the ball up high because the moment you bring that ball down to letter height, those little quick guards with those quick hands, they'll make you pay for it.
Calvin Valentine checks in now for Michigan State out of DeMatha High School in Washington, D.C., and Greg Dreiling is at the line. Hey, back to an 8-point lead at 32-24, 8:10 to go, first half. Larry Pollock gets the rebound. Just over 8 minutes to go, first half. Darrell Johnson. Skip pass over to Fordham. Underneath, nice bounce pass, and Pollock with a chance for a three-pointer. No basket.
Good call by the official. Danny Manning picked up the foul. Manning just a little too anxious right now, and he's paying dividends as he picked up his third foul. Again, he did not maintain his position on the floor. As you take a look at Pollock, good pump fake that works 9 times out of 10 down low. You'll either get the guy to leave his feet or you'll freeze him, and you can go right over top of it.
Kansas does not need Danny Manning with 3 fouls, that's for sure. And he'll get an early rest here in the first half. 10 points, but 3 fouls. First player to that mark in the game. Pollock has a nice release on that ball.
Good-looking stroke. I'll tell you what, Danny Manning out of there, that really should be a plus for Michigan State. They've got plenty of time left in the first half to continue to eat away at that lead.
Now, where, James, in your view, does that give them the advantage? Offensively or defensively?
I think it gives them the advantage defensively, because they're not having to be so worried about a guy at 6'11", that height, who's that agile. Dreiling is not the offensive player that Danny Manning is.
Dreiling has the ball now. Goes left side to Cedric Hunter. Hunter puts it up. Not there. Off the glass, and the rebound to Michigan State. Here comes Darrell Johnson. Skiles, top of the key. Good pass. Off the glass, good. Basket is good. Offensive foul.
Smart play on the part of Calvin Thompson.
And that's the third on Darrell Johnson, so he is in trouble here in the first half.
Again, as you take a look at the move by Darrell Johnson after the pass, he goes up high. It really looked as if Calvin Thompson did not have both feet firmly established that time, but he got the benefit of the doubt.
So Darrell Johnson will get a rest with 3 fouls. He joins Danny Manning on the bench with 7:35 to go in the first half. Thompson. Once again, we're going to update you on that Cleveland State Navy game. It will be shown on a tape delay basis later this evening on CBS. So if you would not like to know who won, we'll give you 5 seconds. Turn away from the screen right now. Okay, you can come back. 33-28. Fordham. Skiles. 6 points so far in the game.
Good man-to-man defense on the part of Kansas, but a better shot by Scott Skiles.
Skiles now with 8 points, and the lead has been cut to 3. It was as high as 9.
And again, with Danny Manning out of there, Michigan State is able to operate a lot more effectively.
Archie Marshall, Hunter, Calvin Thompson, they go inside to Dreiling. He backs away like a freight train and misses the shot. Now the Spartans with a chance to come within 1 all the way up. Offensive foul, that's 3 on Skiles.
Well, you talk about not being able to capitalize on an advantage with Manning being out. You take a look at Skiles. So many players make the mistake of leaving their feet, and he paid the price for it. He should have pulled up for the jumper that time.
Scott Skiles will sit down with 8 points, and Mark Brown will take his place, a freshman from Hastings, Michigan. Skiles averaged 29 points his senior year at Plymouth High in Indiana. Mark Brown averaged 37 points per game last year as a senior at Hastings, Michigan.
That really hurts Michigan State. Not only is Skiles on the bench with his 27-point average, Darrell Johnson's on the bench with his 16-point average. Really doesn't leave an awful lot of firepower out there offensively for Michigan State.
Well, you've got your 2 best shooters sitting down now, 3 fouls each.
No question about it. That's
so any absence, James, of Danny Manning has been negated now, I would think.
That's really going to put the pressure on Vernon Carr. You're absolutely correct. It's going to put the pressure on Vernon Carr and Larry Pollock now to try to pick up the scoring.
Michigan State had it down to a 3-point deficit. They now trail by 5 with 6:45 to go first half.
And Mark Brown's going to have his hands full just trying to bring the ball up the court with the quicker Cedric Hunter guarding him.
Mark Brown has not played all that much this year, averaging just over 2 points per game, almost stolen by Cedric Hunter. There's Carr. Rebound. Archie Marshall, outlet pass, Hunter. Calvin Thompson goes to the baseline. Dreiling will set it up with Hunter back to the top of the key. 35-30 with 6:15 to go first half. High speed underneath, and Dreiling draws a foul.
If the squad for Michigan State can just maintain, that will be a big moral victory for them. On the other hand, Kansas has got the firepower. They should be able to pad that lead now with the squad they've got out there.
Skiles and Johnson with 3 each. Danny Manning with 3. He is sitting down, as are Skiles and Johnson, and Ron Kellogg has 2.
So important in that point guard, as in the case of Scott Skiles, is an experienced senior, junior, anybody who can fire you up and lead you. Mark Brown is a freshman, young, inexperienced, and that may reflect in the way his teammates play.
Greg Dreiling now 50% for the night. He is 3 of 6 from the free throw line. And a chance to pad the lead back to 7. Well, within a matter of 2 minutes, Manning, Skiles, and Johnson, all 3 on the bench with 3 fouls. Here's Mark Brown back to Vernon Carr. The top 2 scorers for the Michigan State Spartans are bench-bound with 3 fouls each. Darnell Valentine. Some of the Michigan State folks thought a goaltending call might be forthcoming. It was ruled a clean block.
And it looked like one. Carlton Valentine, basically an inside player at 6'6", much in the mold of an Adrian, if you will, who was his hero. But Carlton's going to have to develop a little bit of a perimeter game.
Fordham back to Mark Brown and Carr.
And now zone defense on the part of Kansas.
Larry Pollock in the corner. Goes by Dreiling. Bounce pass stolen by Cedric Hunter. And here come the Jayhawks with 5:40 to go first half.
They will run the ball. They average 80 points a game, so they're certainly not afraid to run, but exercising good judgment.
Marshall looks underneath for Dreiling and settles around the left side. Piper back to Hunter. Cedric Hunter, regarded as the poorest shooter of the starting 5, yet he hits 70% in Big 8 competition. All the way, shots like that, but this one won't go. Pollock, oh, what a save. But here comes Mark Brown of Michigan State. Valentine. Kansas ball. Heathcote can't believe the sloppy play. That's the 6th Michigan State turnover, over 1 for Kansas.
You talk about great athletic ability. My goodness, look at that. That reminds me a lot of the tennis shot by Yannick Noah.
It sure did. Mark Turgeon back in. He joins Cedric Hunter in the lineup now, as Larry Brown has opted to go with a much smaller lineup. So it's Piper, Turgeon, Cedric Hunter, Calvin Thompson, and Archie Marshall as Dreiling gets a rest, along with Ron Kellogg. And I know Brown is so pleased that he can rest Kellogg here in the first half.
The sky's in the D as his own, and it's an actual man-to-man on the part of Michigan State.
Turgeon tipped, and Fordham comes down with a rebound. Quickly to Vernon Carr, 2-on-1. Nice pass. That'll be goaltending.
Good ball movement that time. Minus a good ball handler, an experienced ball handler, if you will, in Scott Skiles. Michigan State opted to pass the ball well to run the break. Timeout has been called. Kansas leads by 5.
Kansas City, Missouri. I'm Bert Lundquist along with James Brown. Michigan State trailing the University of Kansas 37-32 with 4:41 to go in the first half. Next Sunday, CBS Sports will present live coverage of the women's NCAA basketball championship game at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Join Gary Bender and Mimi Griffin as a new women's champion is crowned in 1986. Kansas on top, 37-32. Frontline scoring so far. Kind of interesting, 28-16 for Kansas over Michigan State. Now with Darrell Johnson and Scott Skiles both on the bench, Judd Heathcote has 45 points per game sitting on the bench. He has a quintet on the court right now that on a per game average is hitting 35 points per game.
And the way to offset the loss of the great individual scores is to do it in a more balanced fashion, Vern, and that comes by way of a fast break.
Pollock will draw the foul. Larry Pollock, as a matter of fact, is the second leading scorer on the court right now with a 10.7 average. That is his second foul. There's Judd Heathcote. This is a team that was picked 8th in the Big Ten in preseason play. They started off with a 9-1 preseason mark before getting into conference play. Struggled a little early on as Greg Dreiling comes back in and Chris Piper gets 11. But then those two big wins against Michigan. They finished 12-6 and tied for third in the Big Ten, and they are, as you all know, I'm sure, the only Big Ten team remaining in competition. Meanwhile, Kansas remains the only team from western Mississippi in competition.
When do you realize that Michigan State is only down by 5 points? So even with the lower scoring squad on the floor, make it 6 now, they really have accomplished what they wanted to, and that's to maintain.
I would think, James, if they can get to halftime with Skiles and Johnson benched and keep it in a single digit.
Under 10, that's right.
They're going to be just fine. Good pass underneath, Valentine. And it's only 5-4 now, 38-34.
Good job by Valentine off the bench. As I mentioned before, his game is principally inside. 6'6", about 230, 235. He's worked a lot in the offseason with the weightlifting program. He's bench pressing 280 now, so he loves the inside action.
There's Dreiling inside. They collapse on him. He goes up with the hook. It's short. The rebound. Kansas the inbound.
Good fundamental moves on the part of Dreiling. He just can't get that shot to fall. But part of his problem developmentally has been that he's not had that many big people to work against all year long.
3:45 to go first half. 38-34. Calvin Thompson back to Mark Turgeon. Update you on DePaul and Duke. Just into the second half, and Duke leading by 7. Our margin is 4 here. Calvin Thompson, he'll hit that all day. There's a young man who was so disillusioned last year, he almost quit this basketball team. He and Larry Brown had some differences, ironed them out. He's got 10 points in the game. One of 4 players on this Kansas team who has hit more than 1,000 points in his career. That's amazing. Mark Brown. Valentine intercepted by Turgeon. It's a 2-on-2 break. Up, poor pass. Turgeon tries to make amends, and here comes Larry Pollock. Mark Brown with a good feed to Carr, and Archie Marshall draws the foul.
Well, we mentioned just a few seconds ago about how with the lack of a great individual scorer out there on the part of Michigan State, the way you offset that, one of the principal ways is to get that fast break going, and State is showing that very, very nicely.
Substitution getting ready to come back in now. Ralph Walker rejoins the lineup for Michigan State, and Larry Pollock will get a rest. That's a case of senior for senior. Skiles and Johnson on the bench with 3 fouls each. Danny Manning on the bench, also with 3 fouls for Kansas.
Yes.
So the 3 key players in this ball game are all in foul trouble. There's Judd Heathcote talking with Larry Pollock.
Much to both coaches' credit, though, they've got good second units out there on the floor working very well. Talk about good practice habits coming into play now.
Neither team, James, is regarded as necessarily deep, though, are they?
Not really at all. Good point, Vern.
40-35, 2:50 to go first half. Mark Turgeon, number 11, in the corner. The jumper from Marshall. He hits it. Mark Brown underneath the Valentine, off the iron, driving with a rebound. Calvin Thompson quickly to Cedric Hunter. Almost tried the alley-oop. Marshall was looking for it. Now Marshall has the ball. 42-35, back to a 7-point bulge for the Kansas Jayhawks. Underneath, Calvin Thompson, good.
Outside, inside, Thompson using that bulk very nicely. It's really amazing to see a guy his size and strength be able to connect that nicely from the outside and then take it on the inside as well.
He's just 1 point shy of his per-game season average. He's got 12 in this game. He's averaging 13 per game per year. Mark Brown hits 44-37 under the 2-minute mark.
Freshman showing a lot of poise there, that Brown.
Pretty good player.
Indeed he is. He's getting some experience under fire right now.
Thompson again long range. Good rebound by Archie Marshall. Traveled. Scott Skiles leads the cheers. Valentine is out of the lineup now. Vernon Carr back in.
Give Mark Brown a lot of credit for helping force that turnover. Nice job when he went to Archie Marshall.
Turnovers now, Michigan State with 8, Kansas with only 3. And Kansas with 6 points off the turnovers, Michigan State with just 2.
That's the more important one. They're connected, converted on the turnovers.
44-37, 1:25 to go first half, live from Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri.
2-3 zone on the part of Kansas.
Oops. Piper knocks it out of bounds.
Well, that was a tough angle to make that pass from, too. Very tough angle.
Brown signals he wants the zone defense now on the inbounds play.
Should be a lot easier for State to get inside now because Kansas is not, they're lacking the big physical people on the inside.
Hunter, no, it's Archie Marshall who drew the foul. That is his second.
Well, number 23, Archie Marshall is second personal.
And Vernon Carr will go to the line.
Again, one of the effectiveness of Kansas zone when they have the big guys in there is that visually it creates so many obstacles and it intimidates a guy to thinking that he can't get inside the zone. But now that's just been taken care of because Dryling is back in. He's such a big spacing.
Dryling back in and Calvin Thompson rather. I'm thinking Louisville. Calvin Thompson is on the bench. What a performance they had last night down in Houston. Congratulations to them and Auburn for advancing to the West Regional Final. That game coming up tomorrow here on CBS. I know Sonny Smith is probably watching, and his team played well.
Indeed they did. The big fellows were working nicely.
Oh, what a pass from Dryling, and the shot won't go.
Good unselfish play by Dryling. Cedric Hunter has been able to kind of conserve himself now because with Skiles on the bench, Hunter's not having to work as hard on both ends of the court. When Skiles is in there, certainly his job was made a lot tougher.
Skiles has been down since the 7-minute mark, just about. And we're under a 1-minute mark now, 50 seconds to go. Watching Cedric Hunter shoot free throws has become an adventure this year. For a guard, he's got an amazingly low average. 57%.
They don't fly any planes in this area as high as he shoots that ball.
Substitution, Calvin Thompson coming back in as the Kansas crowd roars with delight as Hunter hits 2. Thompson, leading scorer in the game with 12. If you joined us late, Danny Manning, the All-American from Kansas, on the bench with 3 fouls. He's been there for about 6 minutes. So is Scott Skiles, the All-American from Michigan State. And Darrell Johnson, the other guard from Michigan State. Both have 3. 46-37, back to a 9-point lead. Pollock gets the ball from Vernon Carr.
As much as we talk about Kansas's offensive potency, they have really done the job tonight, as well as all season defensively. Michigan State only with 37 points, and they're averaging 83 on the year. 9 on the shot clock. Pollock gets the bounce pass in the corner, and the shot won't fall. As a matter of fact, Kansas in the NCAA has held its 2 opponents to 46 and 43 points, respectively. That's the end of the first half with our score. The Kansas Jayhawks 46. The Michigan State Spartans 37. Back at halftime at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, where the Kansas Jayhawks lead Michigan State by a count of 46-37.
The one aspect in the first half, James, that we didn't anticipate was the foul trouble by Danny Manning and Scott Skiles. Both sat down the final 7 minutes. But even before that foul trouble, Skiles had not been as much of a factor as we thought he might be.
Well, not only does Skiles have the speed demon of Cedric Hunter defending him, trying to take him out of his rhythm, Hunter also got a lot of help by double-teaming Skiles along the wings, trying to throw him out of his rhythm, not allowing him any room on the floor to operate, and it really paid dividends because he did not burn them offensively.
Skiles is averaging 27 points per game. He has 8 in the first half and also those 3 fouls. Other than that, things went pretty much according to form. We thought Kansas had a dominance in the front court, and indeed in scoring they have had the edge with 30 to 21 points in the front court. Points in the paint, again, it's going to be a Kansas edge as they're out on top by a count of 18 to 10. And elsewhere statistically, turnovers, Michigan State with 8 to Kansas's 3. And the percentage, Kansas hitting 12 of its first 16%, wound up with 12 of the first 16 shots.
I think there was a moral victory for Michigan State in that with Skiles on the bench for 7 minutes, they only went down by 1 additional point, 9 points. So they're still within striking distance, only down by 9 points.
Quick question, do you bring Skiles and Manning right back in to start the second half?
I absolutely do, because I think it's critical for Michigan State to have him back in the game.
All right, second half is coming up. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Tonight's Midwest Regional semifinal game is sponsored by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's only one light beer.
Kansas City, Missouri. First half scoring for both teams. Skiles with 8 still leads the team, but you can see that Judd Heathcote had to go to his bench. Skiles and Darrell Johnson both sat out the last 6.5 minutes of the first half. Johnson and Pollock with 6 each. Calvin Thompson has 12 points. Danny Manning 10 to lead all Kansas scorers. Scott Skiles is in the starting lineup playing with 3 fouls. He played 40 minutes in each of the 2 previous NCAA tournament games. The wins over Washington and Georgetown, and sat out the final 6:51 of the first half. He and Darrell Johnson both in with 3 fouls as the backcourt tandem.
We'll see what adjustments MSU makes to try to get into their transition game, because with 37 points only having been scored in the first half, obviously prevented from their transition game.
Danny Manning loses control. Larry Pollock grabs the air ball. And Hunter harassing Skiles, who gets the ball. Backhand pass to Vernon Carr. Darrell Johnson. Rebound Pollock. Second chance point, and Johnson can't get it to fall. Manning with a rebound. Dribbles like he's 5'11". Skiles trying to draw the charge, and a no call.
Might be important for Manning just to try to come down the court 2, 3, 4 times, get into the flow of the game. I think he's pressing himself a little too much to try and display his wares, Vern.
The one criticism of Danny Manning in his sophomore season is a lack of aggressiveness. He has been very deferential to his teammates. Talked with Larry Brown about that yesterday. He said, well, maybe he wasn't aggressive in November, but this is, after all, is March. There's Pollock. Gets the first 2 of the second half, 46-39.
And Greg Dowling looks to really be lumbering up the court as if he's having some problems getting some spring and zipping those legs. And the quick leapers of Michigan State are out jumping him.
Cedric Hunter, number 22. Thompson with 12 points, the leading scorer in the ball game, has the ball top of the key. They look underneath to Dreiling, but they're collapsing on him. Now Dreiling has it, lays it up and in. Good pass from Ron Kellogg, number 44.
Led him nicely.
48-39 with 18:15 to go, first half. Darrell Johnson back to Scott Skiles, and look at Hunter. Right in his face. Back to Fordham, takes his 3rd shot of the game and gets his 2nd basket. He's only averaging 2.5 points per game, and he has started 24 games this year. 48-41, 17:50 remaining in the ball game. Left-handed shot by Kellogg. We watched him shoot what would be 3-pointers in the NBA yesterday. He hit 6 in a row. That's not quite in Larry Bird's league, but it ain't a bad average. Fordham with his 4th shot in the game. Somebody wake up.
My goodness, it's amazing what tournament time will do to some ball players. Bring out the best.
Barry Fordham Now has 6 points.
And you said he's only shot 9 times?
That's right, coming into the game in the first 2 games.
Unbelievable.
Manning quickly back to Thompson. Hunter loops it over to Kellogg. Too strong. Darrell Johnson with a rebound from Michigan State. It's a 3-on-3 break. Good pass. Vernon Carr with 2 more.
Very obvious that the Spartans have just made their minds up. Every time they get the ball, they're going to push it up the court. That's the way for them to get back in the ball game.
It's down to a 5-point margin. It was 9 at the half. Calvin Thompson back to Cedric Hunter. Manning comes out to a high post. They look underneath for Dreiling, settle instead for Thompson along the baseline. Into the zone, foul called on Darrell Johnson. That's his 4th. Let's see if Judd Heathcote goes to his bench. No move yet. Yep, there it comes. In the meantime, Chris Piper comes in for the Kansas Jayhawks. And I think you were right. Dreiling's going to sit down. He looked like he was winded.
Moving very, very slow. Besides, he's not really and has not been asserting himself out there. As big and strong as he is, you know, I might even take a foul just to see him go aggressively at the boards and maybe even bowl someone over.
Ralph Walker comes in. Whoops, Kansas lost it. And here comes Michigan State. Scott Skiles pulls up, takes the off-balance jumper. He will go to the free throw line.
Well, that guy right there can certainly do an awful lot to get his team back into the game. And that's Scott Skiles. Good pump fake, and they called the knee foul. Hunter got him with the knee.
Skiles at the line. 8 points so far in the game. 3 turnovers, or rather 3 fouls early in the game have limited his contributions tonight.
A few players around the country, I've had this remark about only a few. Winston Bennett's one, but finesse is definitely not Scott Skiles' calling card. He likes to mix it up underneath. And
There.
only 6-1.
Yep. He's in double figures now with 10 points. And Michigan State is cut it to a 3-point margin. Back in the zone now. Almost a 2-on-2. Danny Manning trying to work free. Ron Kellogg has it now. Calvin Thompson. Good, strong rebounding effort by Michigan State here in the second half. There's the ball goes loose, and let's see. White will control. It'll be Kansas ball.
Again, it's apparent that Michigan State was of the mind that Kansas would not continue to connect that well from the outside. They're staying with the 2-3 zone defense, giving up the outside shot and trying to protect the inside.
Kansas only 40% in this half after starting off with 12 of 16 in the first half. There's Manning. That's a cure for the Blues.
So talented. Can do it inside or out.
Skiles will go to the line again as Ron Kellogg draws the foul.
Now you notice how he's just pushing the ball up the court. He does not possess blazing speed, but he makes his mind up that he's going to take the ball into where the action is, and he gets a drawing or reaching foul in the process.
And watch the reaction. He'll pump air. Skiles back at the line. He's 4 of 5 in the game. Substitutions. Archie Marshall comes in for the Jayhawks, number 23. And he replaces Chris Piper. Skiles, Barry Fordham, Larry Pollock. Darrell Johnson is back in, playing with 4 fouls. And Vernon Carr for Michigan State. Skiles with the second of 2. 12 points. Half of which have come at the free throw line for Scott Skiles. He's in on 3 field goals.
I talked at the top about his tenacious style. Scott Skiles, that is, being contagious. And his teammates are now pumped up. You can see in the zone.
And Kansas just appears a little lethargic in this half, James.
Yes, they do. They're moving just a little slower, Vern.
Archie Marshall. Rebound Manning. He'll have a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, I mentioned in the first half with Manning out of there,
that gave Michigan State the advantage on the defensive end, because Manning is so excellent on the offensive end. And here's why. At 6'11", good movement to the basket. The ball is kept alive, and here's that wingspan serving him well. Can't stop him in that tight.
Manning with 14 now. Larry Pollock gets the foul. That's his third. (55-49), 15 minutes. Skiles, Johnson, Pollock. I think I said Johnson had his fourth foul. That was an error.
Bad shot by Skiles.
55-49.
Doesn't need to force him. That one was taken under too much pressure.
Cedric Hunter trying to solve this zone defense. Kellogg might solve it.
Unbelievable. This guy has not practiced. I talked about his conditioning perhaps being suspect. Not the case so far.
Second chance for Vernon Carr. Now comes the transition game. Skiles goes out to do the defensive job and then gets the rebound. Timeout called by Michigan State. Judd Heathcote has his troops gathered around. It's an 8-point lead. We are live at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri for this Midwest Regional semifinal encounter between the Kansas Jayhawks and Michigan State Spartans. I'm Vern Lundquist along with James Brown. Kansas leading 57-49 after the Spartans had cut that lead to 3. 14-17 remaining in the ball game, and Michigan State Scott Skiles issuing instructions to his teammates as he is wont to do.
And they will follow.
They do listen. That's right. 57-49, 14-10 to go in the ball game. Darrell Johnson. And Michigan State has now become the first team in NCAA tournament competition to score over 50 against Kansas this year, as neither Temple nor North Carolina A&T got above the 50 mark. Off Allen's shot is short, followed by Marshall is no good. Pollock with a rebound. Here comes Scott Skiles. They can make it down to a 4-point deficit. Fordham. He's become a gunner.
That's your guy. Excellent fast break. It was a fast break under control. The trailer came into the scene. He got the shot.
Fordham averaging 2.4 points per game. Has 8 tonight, 6 in this half. Update you on the Duke DePaul score from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Duke now leading by 10. Underneath to Danny Manning in the face of Barry Fordham. Good rebounding position by Vernon Carr, but Archie Marshall, and then he turns and knocks Scott Skiles down.
That's probably what Skiles needed to get riled up now.
That's right. I mean, put him on the seat of his pants. 59-53 to the baseline. Hunter quickly out to harass Scott Skiles. Foul underneath on Ron Kellogg. That's 4 on Kellogg.
Good pass on the inside by Skiles.
Greg Dreiling getting ready to come back in. Watch the end of that last rebound as Skiles gets knocked down.
Vern, he almost took some paint off the floor, too. To take a look at Skiles, I mean, he got clobbered, but good. But he loves it.
I think he does. Nice. Followed by Vernon Carr, number 23. It's a 4-point margin, 59-55, 12:40 to go.
Archie Marshall looks to have lost his legs just a little bit, not quite as active on the defensive end.
At no point in this game has Kansas been able to get into double digits with the lead. Largest lead has been 9, but they have led throughout.
2-3 zone defense, taking away the inside action, giving up the outside shot.
Thompson skip pass. Archie Marshall underneath the Dreiling. Oh, good play by Darrell Johnson. Skiles pulls up, lets it go.
That's what MSU needs to do, continue to break. And what's working well for them is even on the initial break, they stay with the break, and at a professional level, they wait for the secondary break to develop. That means a trail man coming down.
What's good for the Spartans is good for the Jayhawks. Kansas calls time. Kemper Arena, where Michigan State has become the hot shooting team in the second half, and they pulled it within 2.
And the reason for that hot shooting, Vern, is because of the fast break. As you take a look at Darrell Johnson bringing the ball up the court, kicks it over to Scott Skiles. The fast break is working well. That's like a layup for him. That's why they're back in this ball game. It's only a 2-point game.
Scott Skiles now with 14 points. He had 8 at the half and sat out the final 6:51 of the first half. Michigan State 8 of 12 in this half. Kansas only 6 of 14. And the Jayhawks lead has been reduced to 2. Last time we were tied was at 12. Underneath the Dreiling. Misses the stuff.
His legs are not there, Vern. He does not have the spring. Now, Dreiling ought to be taking advantage of Michigan State on the inside. There's no one as big and strong as he is in the middle. He can't dominate.
Kansas will inbound. There's 7'1" Greg Dreiling. 59-57 with 11:44 to go. Archie Marshall. They look for Dreiling again. And it won't fall. The tip by Archie Marshall is up and in.
Well, Marshall got his legs together that time. Dreiling just really needs to take his time and go up for that shot. There's not going to be anyone to block it, and if so, they've got to climb that big body of his to do so.
Greg Dreiling is now 2 of 9 in the game. Second chance points. You saw the graphic there. Back to a 4-point lead. Well, we mentioned in the first half that Dreiling has been in a horrid slump here in the last month or so. Darrell Johnson lets it go short. Manning is out-fought for the rebound by Larry Pollock. That might be a hell ball. It is, and it's Michigan State's ball.
Excellent hustle by Larry Pollock, who just made up his mind. He was determined to get that good inside position on Manning and to pay dividends. Take a look at Larry Pollock hustling all the way. He wants this one. Single elimination. You know, you've got to get on the floor and go for the ball.
Well, he's a blue-collar forward. And that time it paid off as his labors resulted in a held ball, and Scott Skiles will inbound after they get the perspiration cleaned up. There's the possession arrow. They will change that as soon as the ball is inbounded and switch it to read Kansas direction. Judd Heathcote now in his 10th season.
And
lost to Kansas, in the 78 NCAA tournament, or Kentucky rather. And Kentucky went on to win, then they came back in 79 with Magic and Greg Kelser and won it all.
The coach next to him on his left, Herb Williams, is one of the main reasons why this Spartan team is fast breaking more.
Skiles passes on the shot, goes to Fordham, and Fordham will go to the line. Danny Manning, that's 4.
The fans will scream. It doesn't look pretty. But 9 times out of 10, when you have the ball in heavy traffic, if you take it up, the officials are want to call the foul on the opposition. That's why you tell young guys to go straight up with the ball in heavy traffic like that.
Larry Brown indicating by his gestures, he said Manning went straight up. Now Manning will go straight to the bench with 4 fouls. He leaves with 15 points, and Fordham has been an unexpected offensive force in this ball game. Known primarily for his rebounding and defense.
Talk about pleasant surprises.
Misses the second. Michigan State with a rebound and a chance to pull within 1 from the corner. It's a 1-point margin.
Red Auerbach used to say it, don't tell me an awful lot about statistics. When a guy gets into the ball game and my team gets ahead, if they're behind or they pull even, that's what means most to me. And Scott Skiles has come back into the game in the second half. Michigan State is now within 1.
Archie Marshall. Rebound Michigan State. Darrell Johnson. They can take the lead for the first time since the opening moments of the game.
Good pass.
Fordham. Barry Fordham in double figures.
And look who helped to get him fired up. Scott Skiles.
Kansas needs help. They've called timeout. We're back at Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, where Michigan State has gone on top over Kansas 62-61 with 9:59 to go. We want to welcome those of you who have been watching Duke versus DePaul. The Michigan State Spartans, with the unexpected surge led by Barry Fordham, a non-scoring center, have come from a 9-point halftime deficit and grabbed the lead over a Kansas Jayhawks team that has Danny Manning on the bench with 4 fouls. I'm Vern Lundquist along with James Brown, and this is Kansas with the ball. Cedric Hunter, number 22. They look inside for Greg Dreiling, who is 2 of 9 in the game, and that collapsing zone is giving him problems. Thompson hits, and Kansas back on top.
They're going to need his outside scoring to try to bring that 2-3 zone out to open up the inside for Dreiling.
Scott Skiles with 14 points so far in the game. Sat out the final 6:51 of the first half with his 3rd foul. Larry Pollock puts Michigan State back on top.
Skiles is such a smart ball player. When he gets 2 defenders on him, he definitely is unselfish enough to kick the ball to his teammates, that is. More importantly, they're scoring.
Thompson had 12 in the first half, nothing in this half. Again, they look underneath for Dreiling. The strength advantage ordinarily would go to Kansas, but Barry Fordham has hit a career high of 11 points in this game. That ball will be inbounded by the Kansas Jayhawks. 8:54 remaining. There is a worried Larry Brown. He said yesterday, James, I'm scared to death.
Well, he definitely respects the transition game of Michigan State, and they've got their fast break tempo going very nicely right now. Heathcote certainly has got to be pleased with the kind of contagious effect that he talked about Scott Skiles has on the rest of his teammates.
Underneath to Chris Piper, who has come in place of Danny Manning. That's a good pass from Dreiling, and the shot will not fall. Kansas, having started out this game with 75% of its field goals, has suddenly gone ice cold in this half.
Oftentimes, that's the toughest shot to make, and the mistake that Piper made was that he didn't know if he was going to bank it off the glass or shoot it straight on, therefore was in between.
4th foul on Larry Pollock. Vernon Carr goes to the bench. Pollock stays in, and Ralph Walker is also into the lineup.
And Fordham has been working overtime. Your guy is really playing a whale of a game, not only offensively, he's doing a job against the 7-1 Dreiling.
We're talking about Barry Fordham, number 40, who is defending right there. Here comes Skiles with the pass to Johnson. That is the largest Michigan State lead of the game. It's up to 3.
And with each great play, Skiles is pumping his fist in the air, pumping his teammates up in effect.
Skiles has taken a different role tonight because he's been hampered by the 3 fouls and the tenacious defense. And here comes Michigan State as Kansas continues to live in the refrigerator.
Kansas has no quick leapers out there. Danny Manning's being on the bench certainly is hurting them in that respect.
Danny Manning's going to come up off of Scott Skiles' foot. He argues the call.
Looked as if it did go off of Skiles' foot. Let's take a look on the inside here. He starts his move, but Skiles had a good argument. That ball did go off of the leg of the big fellow, Greg Dreiling.
And one official has overruled another one, so Skiles won the argument. Pollock with 4, Manning and Kellogg with 4 each. So we do have foul problems for both ball clubs, and Skiles has played the entirety of the second half with 3, he and Darrell Johnson.
And with Kansas in a man-to-man, you ought to take the ball right to Fordham, who Manning is guarding to try to get him out of there with that 5th foul.
Well, James, you said with about 3 minutes to go in the first half, if Michigan State could stay with a single-digit deficit, they'd be in the ballgame. They trailed by 9 at the half, and here they are with a 3-point lead. Here's Skiles. And they have been getting beaten on the boards, but Kansas gets this one. 66-63.
You mentioned it before about how lethargic Kansas is looking. Their legs look as if they left them slightly, Vern.
Danny Manning playing with 4 fouls, but he's hoping to give them some offensive firepower underneath. They were not getting from Dreiling. He's playing a low post now. Ron Kellogg also playing with 4, as Larry Brown said this is no time to rest the troops.
And Manning certainly will command a lot of attention on the middle there because he can do it inside or out.
Danny Manning. Good drive. Not a foul? Yes. No goaltending call. Ball was on the way up.
They call the foul, but you really have to like the kind of aggressive hustle that Barry Fordham is showing on defense. Take a look on the defensive end. He goes out high to get Danny Manning. Now he hustles back in the middle of that zone, number 40 in green, and he comes over to make the block of Hunter. Just talk about great hustle all the way around.
Cedric Hunter is a poor free throw shooter, under 60%. It's unusual for a guard, but he really has just terrible problems at the line.
He's got a little too much arc on that ball. He really needs to take a considerable amount of arc off of that shot there.
Much better. Guides that one in. 66-64. Michigan State with the lead. They fell behind by as many as 9 when Skiles and Darrell Johnson set out the final 6.5 minutes with 3 fouls each. Danny Manning was also out during that same time frame. And then when Kansas went cold to open the second half, unexpectedly, Barry Fordham, number 40, got his total up to 11 points. And there's an offensive foul called on Vernon Carr.
Good defensive position. Nice play. Nice play on the part of Archie Marshall. Take a look. Number 23 in white is going to get right there to take the charge. Nice position, and you are allowed the rule, the principle of verticality that has came into play. He's allowed that plane up and down.
Only the second foul on Vernon Carr. Jayhawks with a chance to tie. Playing before 18,000 plus, only 35 miles from their home in Lawrence, Kansas, here in Kansas City, Missouri.
That 2-3 zone defense is getting stronger.
Skip pass to Kellogg. Good move to the baseline. He can light it up.
That foot is not bothering him in the least.
Playing with a sprained metatarsal arch. Skiles to Darrell Johnson. Larry Pollock getting ready to come back in with 4 fouls for Michigan State. 6:05 to go. Tenacious man-to-man defense. Good pass. Fordham. He's got 13 points. His career high prior to tonight was 8. And Barry Fordham, the junior from Buffalo, New York, at 6'8", now has 13 points.
He's really making the statement that Judd Heathcote made about him stand absolutely true. He said he's much better than his statistics.
Ron Kellogg. Skiles with the rebound. 3-on-1 break. Carr.
Look at Skiles. Well, you talk about Carr paying the price. You got to like the fact Skiles with a nice look-away pass. Carr takes it right to the basket, and he does pay the price. Boy, look at Cedric Hunter. Talk about getting up. He's only 5'10".
Hunter now with 3 fouls, and Vernon Carr at the free throw line.
You've got to love a hard-nosed kid like Scott Skiles. He really pumps everybody up, talks to everyone.
Well, those of you who joined us around the country, we talked about his off-the-court problems in the first half. Those of Scott Skiles as Vernon Carr gets ready to shoot. Skiles will serve a jail sentence at the end of this basketball season because he's been convicted twice of driving while intoxicated, one of a drug possession charge, and violated his probation. And he's, as we said, a very controversial character. There are many who feel he should not be playing NCAA basketball, but under the rules that exist in the Big Ten, the NCAA, and Michigan State, he is up. It's 5:28 to go, 69-66. Suddenly cold Kansas team underneath the Danny Manning. Off-balance shot, rebound Kellogg, pumps twice, tries to get the foul. The tip is good. Marshall with 12 points. And a 1-point Michigan State lead.
Looks like Kansas may have their second win. Guys looked a lot more aggressive on that play.
Skiles with 14 points so far in the game. Vernon Carr, good move.
I'd say that was rather mean.
A 3-point Spartan lead under the 5-minute mark. Larry Brown wants to talk it over again. This has been a gutty comeback by Michigan State, and they lead by 3. The best shooting team in the Big Ten this year, and they've given ample evidence of why tonight. 14 of 20 for 70%. Timeouts remaining. Michigan State 2, Kansas 1. Skiles and Magic, he reminds many in terms of his contribution to this team of those of Irvin Magic Johnson, who departed in 1979 with an NCAA title. Michigan State 70% in this half. Danny Manning has an answer. 17 points for Manning and a 1-point margin again. 4:25 to go in the game. If it comes down to a free throw shooting contest, Michigan State is an excellent free throw shooting team, hitting 80%. They are 17 of 22 so far tonight.
Smart move on the part of Skiles. He pulled the ball out to see what kind of defense they were in. Well, when you throw up shots like that from that range, it makes no difference what kind of defense you're in.
Scott Skiles had a game against Wisconsin earlier this year when he went 18 of 21, and 12 of those shots were better than 18 feet. There's a tip by Thompson. 73-72, 3:50 to go in the game.
Thompson has definitely got his second win. He's doing it inside and out.
Vernon Carr to Skiles. They'll try and work on Manning underneath and get him his fourth foul. Barry Fordham is under there guarded by Danny Manning.
Again, looking for the seams in the zone defense. Needs some men flashing in the middle.
That surprise you at all that Barry Brown has gone to that zone?
Not at all. Not at all. Again, Danny Manning has 4 fouls. He's got to do a little something to protect him as well.
Offensive foul. That's 4 on Darrell Johnson, the junior out of Flint, Michigan. And it brings Judd Heathcote up out of his chair. Johnson, the second leading scorer for Michigan State, has 10 points tonight, but he, like Skiles, sat out the final 6.5 of the first half. And Kansas with a chance to regain the lead. Ron Kellogg, one of the best shooters in the country, skip pass. Now Hunter, he's the assist man. Archie Marshall, Dreiling has been on the bench for about 6 minutes. There's Kellogg, no. Vernon Carr with a rebound, Thompson with a foul. That's 2 on Calvin Thompson. Heathcote and Larry Brown trying to match tactics. Foul trouble. Pollack and Johnson with 4 for Michigan State. Manning and Kellogg with 4 for Kansas. Skiles has played the entire second half with 3. He'll take it from there. Pollack, another strong blue-collar rebound.
That's one of the problems with the zone defense. You have a little difficulty picking out a man to block out. Pollack has been aggressive on the offensive boards all evening.
Underneath, the Danny Manning almost loses it, gets the off-balance ball, and again a rebound for Vernon Carr. They're beating Kansas on the board. Skiles, Carr, he'll shoot 2, blocking foul.
The thing that I like about that play is you take a look at Scott Skiles pumping his arms in the air. Vernon Carr was the one who grabbed the defensive rebound, really worked his rear end off to get out on the break, and Scott Skiles rewarded him with a nice pass. Carr was the one who got on the defensive end. Why not make him a reward? Good play.
And that was the 5th foul for the Big 8 Player of the Year and a second-team All-American, Danny Manning. He fouls out with 2:21 to go and leaves with 17 points and 4 rebounds.
That will hurt.
Greg Dreiling, who has been an ineffective offensive force tonight, takes his place.
That will hurt. Dreiling is nowhere near as quick a leaper as Danny Manning is.
Vernon Carr on the line with a 3-point lead. 2:21 to go in the game. And as soon as we say that Michigan State will have an edge at the free throw line, Carr misses. They're 17 of 23 tonight. They've hit 80% as a team for the year. A 4-point margin, 2:21 remaining.
Now, with Manning out of the game, that ought to favor the Spartans.
The clock is not operating right now. Dreiling tips it up. Kellogg gets it off the glass and in. The clock is not running. It's been stuck on 2:20. Now, finally, it starts again. And Judd Heathcote is going to raise some net. The clock, there must have been 35 seconds that ran off. The clock was not running. Skiles, 76-74. It sat on the 2:20 mark, James. I'll bet you for maybe 30 is too much.
And Judd Heathcote, well aware that he is still ranting and raving along the sideline, and as well he should.
Whistle, foul. Ron Kellogg has fouled out. He's a senior at Kansas.
Now, Judd Heathcote is calling the official over. He wants to get some satisfaction as far as the clock was concerned. Again, you take a look at Scott Skiles working here. We're going to try to pick up the foul. Awfully light touch foul. If they call that one on Kellogg, very light.
Well, we've got two arguments going on now. Larry Brown talking with Bobby Deibler about the foul call, and meanwhile Heathcote is trying to get the clock problem corrected. Technical. Brown is mad about the foul. Heathcote is wildly upset that the clock didn't run for, I'm going to guess, 15 seconds. Skiles, who's hitting 91% for the year, misses his second free throw tonight.
Larry Brown may not have gotten that technical had not the program he had in his hand when he swung it hit the official on the chest.
Now Skiles will shoot the regular free throw. Back to a three-point edge. It's a 4-point Michigan State lead, 78-74. Well, the finale of this game clouded in controversy as that clock was sitting at 2:20 for a good 15 seconds. Minimum 15 seconds. And then the controversial foul call as Ron Kellogg joined Danny Manning on the bench. Clock shows 1:45 to go. Michigan State has 2 timeouts left. Kansas with 1. And a fresh 45 in the shot clock. They'll work as much of it as they can. Spread it out. 78-74. Skiles
directing traffic, and in tough situations, close situations like this, you can't ask for a better leader than Skiles.
He was yelling at Larry Pollock. Now he yells across, and they'll start the play with 15 left on the shot clock. 78-74. Vernon Carr back to Skiles. Skiles with 18 points tonight, well below his average, but hampered by fouls. From the corner, Barry Fordham. 15 points on a 7 of 9 shooting performance for the 6'8 junior from Buffalo, New York. Cedric Hunter counters. 80-76, under a minute to go. This Michigan State team knocked off Washington 72-70. They defeated Georgetown after finishing 3rd in the Big Ten. They are playing the 2nd-ranked team in the country. And they lead by 4 with 37 seconds to go.
And this is a good ball handling team out there for Michigan State.
20 seconds to go. And the foul called on the baseline with 27 seconds left.
Vern, the key is to go back to the first half when Scott Skiles left the game with 3 fouls, sat on the bench for 7 minutes. Kansas could not capitalize. Michigan State only went down by an extra point, and they were more than able to make that up.
27 seconds remaining. Mark Turgeon has come in. Scott Skiles, hampered with 3 fouls. He's been important tonight, but how can you overlook the play of Barry Fordham with 7 of 9, a man who was averaging 2.4 points per game.
Absolutely can't.
And he picks this game with Skiles in foul trouble to hit 7 of 9 from the field. And a career high of 15 points. His previous career high was 8.
The key, Vern, is that they were not down by a big margin also to make that happen.
There's the follow that goes. Timeout is called. It's still up for grabs with 20 seconds to go.
Announcing the 1986 Eldorado, the free-spirited Cadillac. A special reflection of you. Our
day or
game. Had the clock not stayed still at the 2:20 mark for at least 15 seconds, that clock almost would have wound down. But it was never corrected, and Kansas is now out of its timeout. That will be the subject of a lot of conversation, because I don't know whether it was a mechanical malfunction or an oversight, but Judd Heathcote is going to have some words to say about that. The clock did not start 2:20 for a good 15 seconds, and now officially 20 seconds left. Here are the ones you don't want to foul. Skiles and Pollock leading the list. They'll probably go after Vernon Carr, but even he is hitting 70%. Oh, Michigan State called timeout right before the 5 seconds expired. Skiles quickly looked over at Bobby Dibler and screamed, timeout.
Awfully close.
It was really close. So now what, Mr. Brown?
There's no choice that Kansas has but to foul as quickly as possible. With 20 seconds left, they've got to get to Carr as quickly as possible. Carr is having a good game. And even he, as you mentioned before, shooting 69%, he's having a good game. I believe that emotionally they're playing extremely well. Preferably if they could come up with a steal and avoid fouling altogether, it will work a lot better for them.
Michigan State had a surge in the second half when Kansas went ice cold, hitting 38% coming out of the gates. Kansas led by 9 at the half. And James Brown pointed out with about 2 minutes to go in the first half that if Michigan State could go to the halftime locker room trailing by no more than 9, they were still in the game. And boy, they proved you right.
Which is why also the effort that Barry Fordham has put in, while it has absolutely been sensational, and he definitely is a key man, the key man for Michigan State in the second half, they did not have that big a deficit to make up as they should have with Danny Manning on the bench in the first half.
If you want to talk about an unlikely hero in a Midwestern Regional Championship game, you could look no farther than Barry Fordham, junior out of Buffalo, New York. His career high 8 points, but he is 7 of 9 tonight from the field, and he's done a terrific job defensively on Greg Dreiling.
Boy, the words of Coach Larry Brown certainly ring true now. He says, while we plan to do the job on Skiles and Johnson, we cannot afford to let anyone else on the team have a big game, and that's exactly what's happening with Fordham.
You saw the possession arrow showing Kansas way. Skiles inbound, gets it back to Brown, 1-1. The clock is still running now. It's down to 13.
They're really having some problems with that clock.
It'll go back to 19 seconds. Judd Heathcote is going to get into this argument, and his argument will be it's probably now where it should be.
He wants to let the clock run. Well, you talk about a coach not losing the feel of the game and having to stay on top of a number of elements. Judd Heathcote certainly showed that he was a good bench coach and staying on top of everything. When he saw that clock, he was right on top of it.
They have reset the clock at 19 seconds. And Mark Brown, the freshman, is at the line. He's hitting 87% of his free throws for the year. 13 of 15 for the season. And 81% in the final 4 minutes. Freshman from Hastings, Michigan. And Kansas with a chance to tie. Calvin Thompson. The tip is good. Want to welcome those of you watching Duke DePaul. Final shot of the game. We're going to overtime. Marshall's tip tied it up at 80. But let's not forget the case of the missing 15 seconds. Always keep that in perspective when remembering what happened in this game with 2:20 remaining in the game. The clock did not start for, we're going to guess, 15 seconds. And Kansas has tied it up, James Brown, 80-80.
The old expression that it's not over until it's over certainly rang true. You gotta really like the fact that the Kansas ball players continue to push it towards the end. The quick leaping ability of Archie Marshall. I talked before about his legs. I thought having left him early in the game, but at the most important part of the game, it did not. As you take a look at Archie Marshall, number 23, he's going to hit the boards hard. Nobody blocked him out, and he goes up for the rebound. Nice control. Talk about those practice habits coming into play, and then they put 2 men on Scott Skiles.
Skiles took the last shot, as we all knew he would. Gets it across the timeline with 3 seconds remaining, and then put it up just off the glass. And as a result, we are tied at 80, and we're going into overtime. Both teams have lost once this season.
Well, somebody will change that record tonight, huh?
Well, now you're Heathcote. You've got players in foul trouble. Your kids have fought back. Do you change anything at all right now?
Not at all, Vern. If anything, you would hope that the conditioning of the Michigan State players, if you judge Heathcote, is such that they can continue that transition game. As far as Kansas is concerned, their minus their big guy, Danny Manning, is going to be incumbent amongst the other players to really come through offensively.
Larry Brown's team in overtime lost once to Memphis State earlier in the season. The Michigan State loss was to Iowa State, a team that lost here earlier tonight to North Carolina State. Danny Manning, Ron Kellogg, both on the bench having fouled out. Cedric Hunter controls for Kansas.
We'll see who takes over the leadership role for Kansas, because their leader is on the bench in Danny Manning. Michigan State still has theirs out there in Scott Skiles.
Skiles with 18 points, high for his team in the game. Has played the entire second half with 3 fouls. Dreiling ends the drought. He was 2 of 9 until he canned that basket. He's now hitting 30%, and Kansas takes an early lead.
This will be an excellent time for him to put aside the poor play in regulation time and come through in overtime.
Foul trouble, Pollock and Johnson with 4. Manning and Kellogg are out. Skiles evens it up.
Well, the expression is a prime-time player, and Skiles is certainly it.
Cedric Hunter comes across, glances at Larry Brown on the bench. Says, what do you want, Coach?
That 2-3 zone defense of the Spartans cannot allow Dreiling to get the ball in the paint. They've got to force him out high or front him and get some help on the lob.
From the top of the key, long rebound taken by Larry Pollock, who's been a rebounding force tonight. Skiles lays it off to Pollock, off the glass.
Good play. Good play. Fans want to walk? Absolutely not.
Larry Pollock with 14 points, and Michigan State back on top. 3:40 remaining in overtime.
Pollock has really done his job nicely, an unsung hero who's really hit the boards hard tonight.
Skiles went for the steal. 11 rebounds for Larry Pollock tonight.
And that's 6 over his average.
As a man who improved his field goal percentage dramatically in Big 8 play, shot over 70%. Set a Big 8 record, and it's tied at 84 again, 3:15 remaining. A sellout crowd at Kemper Arena. Skiles. Dreiling with a rebound. Kansas with a chance to go back on top. Cedric Hunter looks in the face of the zone. Archie Marshall, the man who tied it up with 7 seconds to go.
Got to keep Dreiling out of the middle.
Look underneath for Chris Piper. Hunter looks for Dreiling, settles instead for Archie Marshall, a junior college transfer who played at Seminole Junior College in Oklahoma last year. 14 seconds left in the 40-second clock. The fresh 45. Thompson with a chance for a three-point play. May be hurt. $20 points for Calvin Thompson now, James.
Thompson does a nice job as he goes up for the rebound here, sticks with it, and at 6'6", 220, he uses that ball very nicely as he goes up, and he comes down on that knee in an awkward position. Looks like it locked a little bit on him. And he's trying to run it off, yeah.
Those of you who have not been with us throughout the game, a quick recap. Kansas was up by 9 at the half. Skiles was out with foul trouble with 3. Michigan State, led by Barry Fordham, made a run and took the lead at 63-62. They held the lead for most of that point on. They had a chance to ice it with 20 seconds remaining in regulation play with Mark Brown at the line, the freshman. But he missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Kansas got the rebound. Archie Marshall put it in.
You know, Thompson wears a special insert in his shoe anyway. One of his legs is 1 5/8 inches longer than the other. Just a birth defect, so that could very well have contributed to the problem as well.
87-84 with 2:20 to go. And there was also, we cannot forget, the controversy of a clock that stayed at the 2:20 mark for a good 15 seconds regulation time. It never did run. Underneath, Darrell Johnson. What a feed, Larry Pollock.
Excellent pass. Excellent pass. Good recognition. The middleman on his own came up to cover him, and a good pass.
Kansas playing with its 2 leading scorers, Danny Manning and Ron Kellogg on the bench.
Barry Fordham is really winded on the inside. You can see it. He's huffing and puffing. And Vernon Carr's got a big task whenever Dreiling is on his side.
Archie Marshall. Calvin Thompson. It's it again. 22 points for Calvin Thompson, 4 in overtime.
We'll talk about a heroic effort. He is really lumbering in pain.
Rebound, Pollock is 12th of the game. Shot, Dreiling with the carry. 1:20 to go and a 3-point Kansas lead. Timeout. Kansas has a 3-point lead and the ball.
Started out as a part.
Kansas leading 89-86 in overtime. We were tied at 80. We have 1:18 remaining. Vern Lundquist and James Brown here at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. The Jayhawks are out of timeouts. Michigan State still has 2 left.
Vern, it's really going to be a crying shame that a game as well played as it has been between these two teams. The young men giving their all and have to be marred somewhat by what we think perhaps was a malfunction on the clock's part.
Well, there seems to be some thought now that even though the clock didn't start when it was at 2:20, it did jump down to the proper time. We'll try and check that. Here are those who are the 4 free throw shooters for Kansas, and they'll go right at Cedric Hunter or Chris Piper, both hitting under 60%. You don't want Thompson on the line, and you'd rather not have Marshall or Dreiling. Judd Heathcote's team trailing 89-86.
No doubt Coach Brown wants the ball in the hands of Turgeon and Hunter.
Mark Turgeon, junior from Topeka. Dreiling inbounds to him. Darrell Johnson running man for man in the press. Turgeon gets it across. Quickly over to Thompson. Now to Archie Marshall. 89-86. 29 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Underneath. Calvin Thompson, the senior, with 25 points and a 5-point margin. Skiles, short. Foul on Pollock. That's it for the game. Jumping in Jayhawk land, Larry Pollock fouls out with 11 rebounds and 16 points. The senior out of Sterling Heights, Michigan. And Archie Marshall at the line gets the first of the 1-and-1. It was his basket that tied it up with 7 seconds remaining in regulation play. Brown up and hollering, get back, don't foul, don't foul. 3 bounces, Hunter with the rebound. Dreiling has it now, 35 seconds remaining in the game. And a 93-86 Kansas lead. Foul on Ralph Walker, number 15.
Size made the difference for Kansas down the stretch. The big guys under the basket just eventually wore out the little guys.
With an all-around all-around game tonight, fouled out with 11 rebounds and 16 points. His final game, perhaps, for the Michigan State Spartans. And another senior at the line now, the star of the second half in the overtime, Calvin Thompson. These kids were picked in the preseason to finish 8th in the Big Ten. And they've taken Kansas into overtime and had the lead with 20 seconds to go. And Mark Brown, the freshman, at the line, shooting 1-1 with a 2-point lead. Here's Thompson. Bounce pass, Marshall. Up and in. That should nail it. It's 96-86. Vernon Carr. Kansas got the scare of its young life, but playing before the home crowd.
Two years. Came right off this dark thing right here. Boy, this wind.